It was interesting because, you say, oh, we're going to get married, you get engaged, you plan.
Shouldn't you maybe ask
Women
Joe,
plan.
did you plan it all?
Well, I always getting to that. When I say you plan, I mean she plans, and I say that sounds good.
He had turned 30 and I was turning 27 right before we got married. And we went to the priest and we're like, well, wait, we don't want to wait. People are saying, oh, honey, people plan their marriages 2 years in advance. And this was June, and we wanted to get married like in August or whenever, right away. Also, the fact that we're waiting till we got married was a big, let's get things moving.
We got married at my home parish. We did the first look. It was overcast and drizzly.
Yeah.
And to start.
Uh-huh.
And some people were like, oh, how sad. And I go, oh no, how lucky. Because you want to get married on a rainy day.
The thing is, the church goes, okay, you can get married. It's like, oh, but we don't have any space open for the next 2 years. We're completely booked, Mary Star. And then trying to find a venue anywhere near here. And so we met with Father Reyes, who married us, and we met with him a couple of times. And he goes, okay. He goes, you guys can do a Crescio. Like, he's been out of the Catholic Church for a long time, then they throw him into a Crescio for the weekend. I was like right in with my people. I loved it.
Oh yeah, she was in her place.
So I happened to call someone saying, well, try this. I tried every hotel everywhere, and someone said, did you try the Queen Mary? I'm like, oh yeah, the Queen Mary. So I called the Queen Mary, I go, we're getting married November 10th. What do you have? She's like, December, January, February. She goes, I have nothing until like, whatever. I'm like, great. She goes, hang on a minute. So she goes forward. She goes, let me check, see if somebody canceled. She goes, somebody canceled November 3rd. I go, put me down. She goes, we haven't seen the room. I go, doesn't matter. I go, it's there or the parking lot at Vaughn's. My mother was like, we'll never be able to plan a wedding in, a few months. I'm like, what do we have? We have the venue and we have the church. We got the bride, we got the groom. What? Really? We have everything now. We have everything we need.
She was living with her mom and her daughter at her home just by Oxy College in the Eagle Rock Highland Park Heights area. We both weren't going to church at the time. We got married a year later in Reno, so we had a civil marriage. It was after my dad had passed away, and I went to church, and Cheryl says, oh, I see that you really miss church. Why don't we look around and see if there's a church around here? St. Dominic's is just on the other side of Oxy.
I was really impressed with the beauty of the church and the friendliness of the people. They really welcomed us.
She decided she wanted to go to the church regularly, and then we met the wonderful little Irish nun, Sister Brunelda, and she ran the RCIA, and Cheryl told me that she wanted to sign up and get on that. That really lifted us up.
We had this long debate about the traditional father walking the daughter down the aisle.
Yeah.
And how that would, although as much as she kind of wanted that with her dad, how much her mother would find that really hard. So we came up with a plan. My parents walked me down the aisle, left me there, and then her parents walked her.
And I realized how wonderful my family was because it was the first time my mom and dad had actually seen each other in 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. And I had a cousin who ran interference, and my family was wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
But yeah, I thought the wedding day was just the way we kind of wanted it out. It was sunny by the end of Mass. So it started with rain and drizzle, and then it was sunny by midday. We got an old 37 Packard to be our limo to take us to the reception. We were the first ones there. And so everybody came through and got a chance to say hello to us and give us hugs and congratulations as they went in to get lunch. And it went exactly the way we kind of wanted, because it was like we wanted to make it a really good experience for everybody else too, where it was just this kind of seamless thing. Okay, one of the things about the wedding is, what do you put on the cake? When you look like us.
Oh my gosh.
Right? What do you do? That I think the whole experience of like preparing for the wedding, picking out the dress, becoming the bride for herself, she talks about it as like the story of the ugly duckling who becomes the swan. And that moment of like, she was feeling like by the time we got married that she was now the swan. So she had this idea of putting swans on our wedding cake.
So John decided, he decided that the perfect time to pop this courtship question would be on the 8th of September, the feast of the Nativity of Our Lady. And a mutual friend was getting married on that day. So my phone rings and it's John. And he says, I heard you're going to Sally's wedding. Just heard. And he says, I'll pick you up. So sure enough, we went on that special day and arrived. And I'm just looking around the pretty church doing my thing. And John comes to me and he says, well, there's something I'd like to show you. So he leads me across the church and he says, it's this. And the first thing that I see in front of me is a black brick modern baptismal font. And so I wondered what he was so excited about to show me. And then he says, well, not that, but this. And above it, there was a beautiful statue of Christ as the Good Shepherd. And he has the sheep over his shoulders. And John said, well, I brought you here because I want to tell you that I want to be your Good Shepherd. And I want to be able to someday present you to the Lord. And it was beautiful. And it was amazing. But it was also heavy. It was a question, right? This was the courtship question. He just went, woo, right for the top. So I was not ready to answer him. And I deflected. And we got in the car. We had about a 45-minute drive to get to the reception. And during that time, I asked him questions. Are you sure the Lord's calling you to marriage? And these types of things. So we had a good conversation. And when we arrived, I put my hand on the door handle and I just was ready to open it. And John said, could you just give me a tentative answer? So I was able to give John a tentative yes. But it took another few days for my head and my heart to really catch up with each other. And at that point, I was able to change my tentative yes to an affirmative yes. And what we realized was that we had this incredible gift because of our 5 years of friendship. We had already done all the hard work. We knew each other's character. We had trust, that was there. So all we had left to do was to fall in love. And that could be very fast.
It was really so amazing that after her tentative yes, there was really no pressure or any sense of urgency that I felt, because in my case, all I wanted was the best for her.
We had our convalidation ceremony at St. Dominic's. So when we celebrate our wedding anniversaries, it's
On Holy Saturday, we had all the Easter lilies
and
white
trees up there.
azaleas. Holy Saturday, Easter Vigil, is such an important sacrament. I had the sacrament of First Communion and confirmation and marriage all in the same day. What I remember is standing in the church with all those lilies and azaleas and all that beautiful decoration, looking in his eyes when I promised to love him forever and ever, and seeing the look in his eyes was a memorial thing. I mean, I'm going to be 75 and I still remember that, you know? So it's like...
The actual wedding day, my best man was my best friend. I remember looking over at him and he had tears in his eyes and I thought, this is crazy. Then all of a sudden I'm crying. I thought, wow, this is really big. It was like a really overwhelming spiritual moment. I thought, this is an enormous thing that's going on. It's that real sense of, it's not just an event. It was really amazing, watching her come down the aisle, and I thought, wow, this is it. She's mine. We didn't have a lot of money. We paid for our wedding, and it's not like nowadays where there's an expectation. Oh, you got to spend $150,000 on a wedding. That wasn't us. They were like, oh, we'll have some really bad chicken for dinner, and some beer and some. So,
well,
but
that
it was
was
great.
one thing though, because Southern Baptists don't drink and we're not supposed to dance. And then here we are planning a reception, and his mom's like, "What kind of wine are we gonna have there?"
And of course, my family
is there gonna be an open bar there? And my mom's like,
And my family was dancing on the tables.
tables.
Literally. We have video of my sister and my brother dancing on the table. I thought, okay.
Yeah.
I think the Baptist minister left at that point, or melted or something, I'm not sure.
Paused on our wedding day at the back of the aisle before we got ready to walk down. And I looked at my dad and I started to have a bit of a panic attack. And I said, how do I do this for the rest of my life? I mean, I think that the enormity of it kind of hit me at that moment in time. And I was like, oh my gosh, how do you do this? How do I commit for a whole lifetime to this person? And my dad so affectionately would call me Lolly. And he said, Lolly, first of all, this is a really bad time to be asking this question. Really bad timing. But he said, you're not doing it for a lifetime. He said, you're doing it for today. And you're going to do the very best that you can with today. When you wake up tomorrow, you're going to do it again. And you're going to do your very best in that day. And before you know it, you're going to wake up and you will have done it 40 years like your mom and I have done. And I went, okay, let's go. I can do that.
When she walked down the aisle, I'm standing there in Mary Starr's beautiful church, and there's a long aisle to walk down. Here comes Gina down the aisle with her dad. My entire body is pulsing. It wasn't like nervous, it was excitement. And it's like, this is it. This is happening. This is.
I'm going to dance the night
She was
away.
dancing, literally dancing on the
tables.
tables. Literally dancing on the tables, having a great time. I remember, the speeches, of course. Andy, my younger brother, was my best man. He was just saying, I can't believe Rob is marrying someone that doesn't ski, and I can't believe she's marrying someone who doesn't dance, because Gina's such a great dancer.
We had the
It was
best
great.
time.
It was a great time.
It was a great time. So the whole night I was like, I'm taking all of this in.
I knew
You had a
12
great time.
people there, Because I couldn't wait for our life to get started, or, together, like immediately.